When solving absolute value equations, we're going to begin them just like we would a normal two-step equation, but we're going to focus on isolating what's inside that absolute value. Before we get too far into solving this equation, though, we really want to think about what does absolute value mean? Well, absolute value is a number's distance or an expression's distance from zero. So if I'm looking at the absolute value of x is equal to 4, that means I'm looking at a number who's 4 spaces from zero. Well, we have two options. One of them is -4 and the other one is +4. So back to our problem. The first step that we're going to do is we're going to actually subtract 3 from both sides. That's going to give us 4 times the absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to 16. When the 4 is next to the absolute value, that means it's connected by multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. That's going to give me the absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to 4. Well, now let's think again about what absolute value is. There are two numbers that can go inside the absolute value that have a distance of 4 from 0. One of them is +4 and the other one's -4. So my first case would be x plus 2 is equal to -4. My second case would be x plus 2 is equal to 4. So in both of these cases, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. When I end up solving that, I'm going to get x is equal to 2 or x is equal to -6. Let's look at another example. So I'm going to look at the thing connected to my absolute value by either addition or subtraction. That's the 2. It's being subtracted, so the opposite of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. That's going to give me -5 times the absolute value of x minus 4 is equal to -25. Because the -5 is connected by multiplication, the opposite of multiplication is division. And what I do to one side, I do to the other, so I'm dividing both sides by -5. That's going to give me the absolute value of x minus 4 is equal to 5. Now remember, with absolute value, I'm looking at what can go in that absolute value that is 5 spaces from 0. Well, 5 could go in there, meaning x minus 4, for my first case, is equal to 5. I can add 4 to both sides, and I get x is equal to 9. So 5 can go in the absolute value, or -5 can go in the absolute value. So my second case would be x minus 4 is equal to -5. Again, I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and that's going to give me x is equal to -1. So I have two solutions of both problems that we saw. Well, we do have three situations when we're solving absolute value equations. So in something like this, where I have the absolute value of x minus 8 equals 5, it's a positive number that the absolute value is equal to. So I have two numbers that could go inside the absolute value that come out as 5. So I would have two cases giving me two solutions. I could also have another scenario where I have the absolute value of x minus 8 is equal to 0. That would just be x minus 8 equals 0, because 0 is 0 spaces from 0. So I have one case with one solution. And my last situation is going to be x minus 8 is equal to -5. That's saying what number is -5 spaces away from 0. Well, distance can never be negative, so in this scenario, we'd have no cases with no solution. Well, I hope you've absolutely enjoyed this video.